Okay, people, so one of our major reggae festivals, Reggae Sumfest, is behind us for 2025. But questions raised by Friday night Stampede are still with us. What happened and what, if anything, is done at these big events to try to avoid or minimize the problems that could take place, like injury or even worse? Thank God we didn't have worse. Those things can result from panicky crowds that stampede. Going to be talking about that in this edition of the program. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Dion Jackson Miller. This is All Angles. Later on, we're going to be hearing from the Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon. We'll also have with us the head of the Jamaica Constabulary Forces Traffic Branch, Assistant Commissioner Gary McKenzie. We did invite the organizers. They declined the request, and of course want to hear from you. Our WhatsApp line 876-254-0693. Give us your first name, give us your general location. And we're going to be hearing in a moment from two of the people who are at Sumfest that night. Just before I introduce them, though, let's go back to an excerpt of this report that my colleague Anthony Lugg did about what happened.
The writing was on the wall from early. Reggae Sumfest 2025 would be one of the biggest to date, with thousands flocking Catherine Hall, Montego Bay to see the crowning of dancehall artist Vybz Kartel.
First in 14 years. So we expect him to kind of tear the place down.
By midnight, inside the venue was crammed, while on the outside, hundreds more were trying to get inside. But by the time Vybz Kartel took the stage, sometime after 3, the Catherine Hall venue had reached capacity, forcing the organizers to impose restrictions.
Cleaners here! We been touring the world. And I know we not see them do it sweet like Freedom Straight. Now we're there Sumfest.
And what was supposed to be a night of celebration later turned into chaos. Overzealous patrons eager to get a glimpse of what was happening on stage caused a stampede, sending hundreds of patrons scampering for safety.
When I look one man ball out rolling calf, and I head out with the man who ball out rolling calf, I grab my phone and my purse and my chair and I head out with the man. When I look after the crowd drop, my auntie up on the ground and she lost her key, everything. Like, oh my God, it was so traumatizing.
People was like falling at my feet. Not one, not two, like 20 because of a stampede.
Medics on location quickly jumped into action when the ordeal came to an end. Watch as this patron, clearly shaken, was being carried out on a stretcher by the medical team. Several others left the venue limping and had to seek medical treatment. Our news team caught up with Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton following a tour of the Cornwall Regional Hospital on Saturday. He revealed that 23 patrons were treated.
Patients came in, they were checked, number of bruises, about 3 or 4 had broken bones, and there may have been 1 or 2 admissions, but most were treated and sent home. So I want to just thank the team here. They acted fast and dealt with the situation as they are trained so to do.
It's still not clear what led to the incident. However, TVJ News understands that a probe has been launched. The ordeal has already sparked discussions about whether the venue exceeded its capacity. That aside, some believe going forward, adjustments will have to be made.
All right, so joining me in studio now, we have Savion McFadden. He was one of the patrons at Reggae Sumfest, and on Zoom with us, another patron, Howard Jackson. And if the name sounds familiar, full disclosure, yes, Howard is my brother. So I'm going to start with Savion, though, because you were at a, what should I say, an altitude kind of, where you actually had a view. Tell us what you saw and just how it unfolded.
Sure, no problem. So I actually got to witness 2 of the stampedes. The first one, though, I was...
2 of them? How many were there?
I believe, based on what I remember, there were 3 of them, if memory serves. But the first one, I was positioned in center stage. So I was on the ground, but what I do remember very vividly was the ground moving. I could feel the earth kind of shaking. And when I looked up, I saw people, I've always been telling my friends this, it almost looks like dominoes just coming down, down, down. You know, like how dominoes will go down a line. That was how it felt, it looked. And the fence collapsed, the barriers collapsed. I remember I saw even 2 police officers trying to control the situation, but they also fell. And for me, because I had a female friend with me, I tried to be calm in the situation and step back as calmly as possible. But the second one, I was by one of the booths at Sumfest, and that one was more scary to see because you could see the domino line, as I was saying, but from that aerial view where, you know, you're seeing these people just fall to the ground, it was kind of crazy to watch, I must admit.
So let me go back to the first one. So when you initially heard, you say you felt the ground move, so was anything going through your mind at the time?
At that time, I genuinely thought it was probably the speakers, because, you know, the speakers are usually very loud, so I wasn't really thinking about that until I looked up and saw what I got to see, the people falling down, the fence collapsing, the barriers collapsing. That was when I was kind of, you know, thrown off in that way, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Howard, let me bring you in here, because you were in VIP when this happened, so describe for us what you experienced.
So VIP in this context is really closer to the stage, but not right under the stage, which is another section. But we're watching the show for most of the night, no problems. And similarly, during when they were doing the crowning of Cartel, I just felt the shaking of the ground, felt like a little bit of like a earth tremor, or maybe even more than that. And then when I looked to my left, and it felt like hundreds of people just running towards you about to trample you, is how it felt. So instinctively, I started running as well. Dropped my phone, but I think I had on a cap and that dropped too. So for quite a few minutes, even after the running stopped, it was really chaotic because I'm trying to find my phone and a bunch of other people were trying to do the same. Fortunately for me, someone who was standing in front had taken mine up and was able to give me back. So similarly, I left that area and went to the food court and said, let me just go there until things settle down, because we didn't know what caused it. And then a second wave was there. I had some soup in my hand, I had to drop it and just run, because of course you don't have to be running with hot soup. So that was the second one. At that point I was, decided time to leave, because we still don't know what's going on. Just one other thing was, I did see police as if they were looking for someone, because they had their hands, on, guarding their weapons and kind of going through the crowd. So at that point, without knowing what exactly caused it, it just felt like the best thing to do was to get out of there.
All right, let me take you back to the first one though. So you look up, you say you saw what looked like hundreds of people coming towards you. So Did you have time to think anything? Do you remember what was going through your mind, if anything?
Not really think. And instinctively, you just run. I mean, because if you don't run, in my mind, if you don't run, you'll probably get crushed. So I thought the only logical thing to do was go in the same direction as all these people and try to outrun them as best you can. But no, not much time for logic in terms of what's the best option.
Hold on. You tried to outrun them, so did you outrun them?
Well, they didn't trample me, so I assume so.
What was that like, though, that running part? And I imagine there were other people around you. Were you being jostled? What was? Did you see anybody fall, for instance?
Yeah, so two things. Everybody's running, like you said. And again, remember, there's a whole lot of chairs all over the place that people were folding chairs. So people were running and falling, not just in contact with each other, but falling over the chairs. My chair and a lot of others were totally destroyed by the time we got back. So yes, it's a combination, I think, of just people themselves running over each other and then the chairs being in the way as well.
Oh, okay. And were you ever in danger, you felt?
Not one-on-one danger, but the whole atmosphere just felt dangerous, particularly when the second one happened, which I think might have just been everybody on the edge, because I don't know what caused that, but the atmosphere at that point felt like you're not in a safe place, particularly with police were running around with their hand on their guns. It's like, this probably isn't the place to be right now.
All right, Xavier, let me come back to you. So after the first one, what happened?
Okay, so after the first one, because I was on the ground level at center stage, I thought it best to get to safety, as you know, Howard said as well. So that's why I ended up going to one of the booths. Now, at that time, this is the detail I forgot to mention. At that time, I was waiting to go upstairs, right? And while I was waiting was when, as Howard meant, I like how Howard described it. It felt like hundreds of people running towards you. I saw like a chunk load of people running and coming towards me, and I took it upon myself, despite the security guard being there telling me to not go up as yet, to jump on the stairs because I didn't want to be a part of that. So that one I think was more traumatizing personally for me because I was very close.
That's the second one?
Yes, that's the second one.
How much time was there between the first and the second one, approximately?
I would say about 10 minutes. They're about 10 to 15. Yeah.
So going back to the first one now, so I mean, how did that end? How did that last?
Wow.
And like, how did people kind of settle back?
Okay, so I could say that from what I was seeing, most persons were still running, even in the settling down phase. Persons were still running. I could see that persons were also trying to get a hold of what was taking place, if it was a fight, was something happening. And I do remember as well that some of the planning team from Sumfest, they were trying to calm the situation down as best they possibly could.
By doing what?
So they were going around basically telling everybody to calm down as best, just...
You mean on the ground?
On the ground.
Was anybody speaking from the stage?
Not to my recollection.
Where you could actually hear?
No, I think the only thing Vice Cartel got to say a little bit was, everybody kind of relax a little bit, love and peace, that kind of thing to try and calm people down. But that was really all we could hear from the stage.
Nobody really came on stage and tried to direct or give instructions?
I don't think so. Not from what I remember, no.
All right. So people calm down now and you think everything all right?
I thought so, genuinely.
Were people leaving at that point, or did people start to settle back?
People were leaving at that point. Like, a good traffic of persons were leaving after the first one. But I think that because the Skeng and Tommy Lee were going to perform afterwards, there were some persons who decided to stay back. But from what I remember, a good amount of persons left after the first one. Okay.
Had you actually seen anybody who got hurt in that first
I think yes, because as I said, when I saw the fence collapse, bear in mind, in the fence collapsing, the persons were squished. They were being squashed on that fence.
These are the people who were on the VIP side of the fence, you mean?
No, there were persons who were on the general side, who were being squashed by that fence. So I am pretty sure. I remember vividly that there was one lady who she had to stay there for a little bit before she could regain some sort of movement to get up, because she was also being trampled on. I remember seeing persons like stepping on her as well.
I'm not sure I'm following this. Okay, so you have the...
It's a lot going on, I'm sorry.
I know. You have the fence that separates VIP and General.
Yes.
Right? VIP is in front, General is behind.
Yes.
But the movement is coming from the back towards the front, correct?
I would say so, yes.
Right, so the fence now, so the people from the back are moving towards the fence.
Towards the fence, and they ended up trampling on the fence because they're trying to run. So because everyone is trying to run, the fence gave way.
Right.
Yeah, and that was when, because the fence was giving way and persons were still trying to run, that was how, the trampling started, because by the fence collapsing, it pushed persons onto the fence and they ended up on the floor, and then there were persons, yeah.
All right, we're going to pick up when we come back. Remember our WhatsApp line, it is 2540693, 876-2540693. Give us your first name, give us your general location. We'll soon come.